Why does my dog explode out of nowhere? Well, I ask myself the same question. I have been working with dogs for 11 years professionally, and when my Australian Kelpie arrived home 7 years ago, I thought I was ready, but nothing I used for 6 years before, even with my own dogs and with the hundreds of dogs I was helping around the world, helped for us. I thought I was ready, but I wasn't. She took me out of my comfort zone. She made me look outside. And what happened with Kiwi is that she was a ball of emotions, full of energy, exploded out of nowhere. And I was doing everything perfectly, or at least that's what I thought, following every method, following everything, but nothing worked for us. And what she taught me in these 7 years, and that I've been using with more than 750 dogs, is what you are going to understand in this series of videos. Today we're gonna go deeper in why my dog explodes out of nowhere. Why did nothing work with my dog? Let me rewind a little bit. Yuki was my Japanese Akita. He's the one that got me into professional dog training, and he didn't have a good recall and he didn't like other males. Before he arrived home, I had already read many books and I took lessons with him, but nothing had a structure, a methodology. I asked my vet and he recommended me a dog trainer. Guess what happened? I ended up the class with my puppy, 6 months and 30 kilos on my arms, direct to the hospital, and he had 2 surgeries because the dog trainer tagged on the list so hard that he broke his leg. After this, I asked to myself, this cannot be the way, there has to be another way. And I started studying to help my own dog because I couldn't find what I wanted. The change we did was so mind-blowing that I quit advertising and I started helping other dogs. And Kiwi came because Yuki, my Akita, passed away too soon, and Kiwi, our Australian Kelpie, came, as I said, 7 years ago, and nothing worked for us because I was focusing on the behavior. I had a perfect obedience. Kiwi was listening to me, but the moment she exploded, nothing worked for us. She took me out of my comfort zone, and she made me understand that I had to look inside of her, that every dog, it's completely different, and every dog can react to things in a different way, and we have to understand our dog the way he is. And this brings me to what I'm going to explain you now, because every dog has an emotional balance. What is the emotional scale in dogs, or how dogs' emotions work? We're going to start with this simple example that so you can understand. I'm not the best drawing, but look at this. This is a scale. Our dog's emotional scale. And on one hand, we have the positive, and the other hand, we have the negative. The positive will be calm, okay? Will be a connection. Will be not stress, all right? And the negative side will be frustration. Will be overexcitement. Will be stress, right? And many others. The list goes down for both of them. For a good emotional balance, our dog has to spend 85% here and 20% here. If it's not this way, if it's the other way around, the scale is gonna be on negative, right? Your dog is gonna spend more time in the negative side than in the positive side. What this is going to make is that your dog is not going to have an emotional balance, right? The thing is that if dogs, like we are, they are ready to go through something difficult during the day, to a moment that is more stressful than other, but not every day. And what can you do now? For example, you can check this next 7 days and see how long does your dog spend in calm moments, connected moments, not stressed. And we will go through this because there are moments where our dogs might give us calm behavior, but they are not in really calm. We will go through this. But check these 7 days. If your dog spends more time within frustration, overexcitement, stress, we're gonna talk now about stress because we have positive and negative stress. And if your dog has an emotional balance, all right, the blue one, or if his left side, the negative one, has more weight than the positive one, because this is going to give you an overall of your dog's emotional balance, and this is where everything starts. What is residual stress in dogs? As I said, our dogs can handle a little overexcitement, a little stressful things during the day, but not overall. And we can think of it like this will be a glass of water, okay? And think of your dog, for example, he hears out of the window another dog barking. And then you go outside and he sees the dog that he doesn't like, for example. And then he sees a person that scares him. And the list goes up, okay? This goes up until the glass, fills and it floats. And this floating is your dog emotion, is your dog, okay, going up, 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 until he cannot hold it anymore. And we have to look at this because this stress will be on this negative side of the balance. And what is gonna happen is that the glass is full. Maybe you're not noticing, but if the glass is full, your dog is gonna be here more. And that's why your dog is also reacting more, because he cannot have an emotional balance here, and his glass is full. His emotions are overloading. And if he cannot cope with this, and if you're not removing the residual stress that your dog is having with this flooding, your dog is going to be in this permanent moment of stress, and he's not going to be able to be coping with his emotions. What brings me also to why you're focusing on the behavior, and what you're trying to do is not fixing the behavior. Why does my dog all of a sudden react to something that he wouldn't react before? So let me explain you. When the glass is full, because your dog saw the other dog on the street, because the walk was too difficult, because of different things that made the glass overflow, his emotional glass overflow, this is going to flood and it's going to leave emotional prints on your dog's brain. So let's say that we have, these are neurons, okay? This is your dog's brain and these are neurons. So what is going to happen is that the fact of your dog having a lot of residual stress that you haven't removed because you didn't even know this, or because you do not know how to remove that residual stress, your dog is going to spend a lot of time this here on the negative, more than he can manage. So this is leaving emotional prints on his brain. And what is going to happen is that these prints, your dog is going to choose this path more often, okay, and strongly, because this is going to be on his front head and he's going to be choosing that before. And without removing the residual stress, with the emotional prints and being here, it's very hard that your dog listens to you and it's able to stop when he is at an emotional level that he cannot manage. We're gonna talk about emotional levels in another video of this series, don't worry. But now I want to explain you something else. Why, when you try to fix the behavior that you're seeing, nothing is working? Why does my dog disconnect and stop hearing me when he is like this? Because when you are with your dog, I have been there. I told you that I've been living with my Australian Kelpie, and I've seen it, and even with my Japanese Akita. When you are there and your dog is barking and he's not capable of connect with you, not listen to you, it's like if you were 1,000 miles away from him, but you are right there holding the leash with all those eyes staring on your back, feeling like the worst dog mom of the world, even though you are trying to help your dog manage his emotions properly, to help your dog stop behaving like this. But he cannot listen to you. And I'm going to explain, because this brings us to another thing. Let me erase this first. This brings us to another thing. Why, when we keep focusing on the behavior, nothing else is working? Well, think of it as an iceberg, okay? This is the iceberg, and what happens with icebergs? This part is above the water. We do not see it. We only see this part, which is, let me write it in red, the 10%, okay? This part that you're seeing will be the barking, the langing, the pulling, the reaction. This is the 10%, the part you're seeing. But underneath the water, there is a huge 90% that is more difficult to see. This is your dog's fear, your dog anxiety, your dog frustration. Of course, we have also positive emotions. We do not only have negative emotions, but this is all the emotions that your dog is feeling. When your dog reacts, we're gonna see that in the next video, but when your dog reacts, he's not only feeling one emotion. Maybe he's only feeling one, but he can feel more than one at the same time and react like this. So a little summary, so you understand your dog is in negative numbers. You can take these next 7 days and evaluate if your dog spends more time frustrated, overexcited, stressed, or in calm moments, 80-20, over the next 7 days. And then also evaluate how is your dog's glass. If, for example, you go outside and he hears another dog, he hears noise from the window, there is the postman coming, or the walk was too much, and his glass is floating. And then he has the stress, right? The residual stress that we will have to remove. And moreover, you will have to check if you are, now that you know why your dog is not able to listen. We're gonna go more into the why your dog is not able to listen, but now you understand that it's not because your dog doesn't want you, it's not because he wants to be disobedient. So why does my dog behave perfectly inside but not outside? It could be because your dog's glass of emotions is already floating, and all of this that you understand now is too much for him and he cannot handle it. So all of a sudden he sees something, boom, it's too much. It's like when you get home and you have been in the traffic light and you had a bad day and you had an argument with your boss, and all of a sudden you get home and there is like something little that is going to make you explode. So this is similar to your dog. He cannot hold it anymore. What should I do before my dog disconnects and stops hearing me? Well, the first thing that you have to do is you already have homework for these next 7 days. Evaluate in which side your dog is. If the balance is balanced or there is one side that weighs more than the other, check your dog's emotional glass and try to identify what is underneath that 10% that you're seeing. Now understand that there is a whole world inside your dog and that your dog is telling you something. In the next episode, you are going to understand why treats are not helping your dog and are not working to fix the behavior when you are trying to. See you next episode.